African manufacturing market intelligence and network analysis platform. This platform is a result of months worth of work funded by the Gates Foundation into the research for what exists as a manufacturing footprint for vaccines, therapeutics, diagnostics and medical equipment in Africa, covering all the products made by all the manufacturers present in 18 countries across Africa, selected for various reasons. I hope to show you the demonstration of functionality in order to gather your interest in participating in the scale-up of the product so that many beneficiaries can work together to improve the maturity and development of manufacturing industrialization on the African continent for healthcare. I'm now going to show you some functionality of the tool itself. First, if we click on the Manufacturers and Markets tab, you can see that there are 752 manufacturers currently in the team on the database platform are listed, separated visually by diagnostics, equipment, therapeutics and vaccines. And you can see some of the interface functions such as the scroll bar and the focus mode that allows you to zoom out. You can also see that on each tab there's an information icon to hover over, which will give you details of what is intended to be on that tab and what use is supposed to be made of it. Probably the most important part of the functionality is the various filters that you can see across the top. So here on this screen we have organization type, from which you can select African manufacturer and importer, API manufacturer, or someone that has production capability but is not yet a manufacturer of healthcare. You can filter by specific organization name, by product class, by specific product, by the disease, or by the classification of product, or even the dose form for therapeutics and diagnostics with different technologies. There's also some geographical tabs, so you can filter by country or you can filter by sub-region. I will give you a couple of examples. So for example, perhaps I am only interested in looking at therapeutics, and you can see that the filter has changed to 445 and there are 79 manufacturers in Nigeria. And of those therapeutics manufacturers, I'm interested in ciprofloxacin. So I type ciprofloxacin. You can see the various different combinations of that antibiotic. But if I just click plain ciprofloxacin, 163 manufacturers producing 349 different products. And if I expand the table into focus mode, you can see the names of the manufacturers here in alphabetical order, along with the type of product, the dose form, tablet, film-coated tablet, eye drops, solutions, and therefore the category, along with where they export to and whether their product is WHO PQ'd or CE marked. What you'll also see is a maturity model score, which is an important feature and which we will return to in a moment. I can clear back the data to 0 and then perhaps try something different. So if I am interested in diagnostics, and let's say I'm only interested in malaria diagnostics, and you can see here if I select the 2 rapid tests for the PF only or the PF pan rapid tests, you can see there are 21 manufacturers listed, and by the same token we can scroll down to see who it is that has got some form of malaria rapid test listed as something they like. So this functionality can be done in multiple ways. You can perhaps narrow your search to only Kenya, and within Kenya I only want to know about people that are making Tamita and Lumefantrine, and you can see here 7 manufacturers in Kenya. If I have decided to select one of the manufacturers, so let's say Cosmos Limited here, and there's someone I want to contact, I can go back to the home page, click on the Contacts tab, and then under the Organizations filter, search specifically for Cosmos, and that will give me contact details for Cosmos Limited in Kenya, along with some other information about their leadership and the scale of their employment. What I'm now going to do is show you the manufacturing maturity model that we discussed earlier. First, I'm going to click through to show you the criteria. As you can see on this screen, there is a rating system where the data that's been harvested about each manufacturer is assessed across a range of criteria. There are some criteria about capacity building, whether it's the dose form, the product or the production capacity. There are criteria on financial stability and market reach, the number of export markets, level of revenue and profitability, and transparency in terms of external publishing on their financial details. There's also quality accreditations such as ISO, PQ or US FDA, and finally the maturity of the national regulator in the country in which the manufacturer is based, with increasing points awarded for more mature, more sophisticated attributes for each manufacturer. And if you hover over, you can see what labels you're starting, progressive, mature or world class, and at the top here you can see how many points are awarded for each relevant category in the matrix. What that means is that each manufacturer can be assessed as to their level of maturity and placed into the starting, progressive or mature categories. So I can say, if I want to look at all the progressive manufacturers of a particular dose form, I can type film coated tablet because that's what I believe I want to make. Click on that and it will show me 190 manufacturers. If I then right click, drill through, I can go to the organization's drill through, which will allow me to list those manufacturers clearly. If I then hover over those manufacturers, you can see the reason why they were given that score across the different maturity forms of accreditations, dose form, maturity, etc. As before, all of the filters that are on the top can be used to clearly segregate the type of question that you're trying to answer before you move through to finding the correct manufacturer. So you can use region, dose form, country, or even stakeholder area of interests. For example, maybe you're only interested in malaria products. Another feature of the database is the way that the data is structured according to essential manufacturing lists. So, for example, the 2025 release of the Order NEPAD list of products that are thought to be essential for manufacturing in Africa is included as a filter. You can see here that although the list names 24 products, there are actually 36 when you break down, for example, the different types of insulin, whereas only insulin is listed in the original list. And Order NEPAD segmented these by revenue potential and disease burden to show where each different product might sit. If we're interested in the high revenue potential growing disease burden area, we would click on that graph there. And you can see here that in there are multiple products, 16 that are already made somewhere in Africa, with only one that is not currently found, which is magnesium sulfate combo with electrolytes as a fluid replacement treatment for IV infusion that is used in road injury. If you want to see exactly who is making what, you can see here for metformin to treat diabetes, there is a list of all the manufacturers that are currently making that formulation. For hypertension, we move forward to amlodipine and so forth. Any list could be used in this way. So we have a high impact program product lists, which is a list of products that were interesting for the commissioners of this database originally, the Gates Foundation, with exactly the same methodology that's able to be used. What we can also do is look geographically. So for the Order NEPAD list, you can see here in terms of segment 1 is manufacturers that are not making any of the products on the list. Segment 2 is manufacturers that make 1 to 4 products. And segment 3 is manufacturers that make 5 or more products that may be particularly interesting for those wanting to sponsor essential medicines in particular. The same format is available where you can jump out from a focus perspective, and let's again pick a manufacturer. Let's pick Alexandria Pharmaceuticals in Egypt. We can expand that list and you can see which products from the essential medicines list for Order NEPAD they are manufacturing. We also, on this view, have included the WHO essential medicines list itself, which is a much bigger list of products, but the same functionality exists, and with further development, that functionality could exist for any list that was given for analysis. You'll notice here in the database that some of the areas are blanked out. That's because the full work on data research for those areas is not comprehensive yet. We do have data on manufacturing capacity for some of the manufacturers that are included in the database, as well as financial data. However, because it's not comprehensive and because it's commercially sensitive in some instances, it's currently blanked out in this version of the database. In future versions, we anticipate that it will be usable under the correct access rights for those that have signed the correct confidentiality agreements, or perhaps where the manufacturers agreed to publish that data. We also have a functionality for what we call CVP assessments. That's cost, volume, profit. That is a boots on the ground assessment that allows a manufacturer to be assessed at a deeper level of maturity assessment than the desktop scoring that you've got in the database. The idea is that we could funnel from desktop survey broad information on maturity, apply the correct product and technology capabilities for deeper assessment depending on the area of interest, and then put boots on the ground to record much more information about the finances, facilities, people, product, process, systems and tools of a particular manufacturer. That detail necessarily is commercially sensitive, so whilst there are a dozen or so assessments in the database, at present they're blanked out for the wider user base, but could be unblanked under the same criteria that I just listed for financial information. I want to talk about some potentially useful information that's cross-cutting across different manufacturers. So first, we're aware that there are many stakeholders that want to drive African manufacturing, and as such it is on the agenda in multiple conferences, events and meetings. We've tracked all those events and meetings and rated them by relevance. So you can see here across the date slider, 55 events. If we list them for the most relevant, you can see listed here, for example, second is the World Local Production Forum. And again, you can hover over them to see why we believe it's the most relevant, with scoring from 0 to 3 across the various criteria that are on the screen. If you're only interested in interventions that are involved in financing, you can click the financing link, and that will give you only conferences and events where financing is a significant part of the agenda. Finally, there are multiple ongoing initiatives to try and drive African manufacturing. What we've done is track 118 different initiatives with an announced funding total of $20 billion. You can see here that those initiatives apply to various different technical interventions. So some are financing, some are about production capability and tech transfer. Maybe it's market shaping and market dynamics. So the percentage is shown here in this pie chart. And if you want to know more about each individual initiative, you can click on a link that is here on screen to take you to the details. The filtering is still possible on this screen. So perhaps you're only interested in work that's occurring in Nigeria. And you can see here that that's reduced the number of initiatives to 17. And within Nigeria, let's say you're only interested in ones that are about tech transfer. And you can see here that has again reduced the list to something that's a smaller bite of information. As next steps, we believe that this AMMINA database provides a great platform to expand upon. We have envisaged 6 work streams that could help us build into something that is truly a global good that can help multiple stakeholders. First, to expand the data beyond the 18 countries currently included to all countries in Africa. Second, to improve and modify the interface that you've just seen a demo of, to tailor it to be more usable for the different user groups that we think are going to be interested, as well as providing different levels of access control depending on what is commercially sensitive, quality sensitive, or perhaps linked to IP or privacy. We also believe we could set up a sustainable model where there's a funding effort made, perhaps by donation, perhaps by subscription, to be understood and designed, but that would allow this project to continue beyond what is an initially envisaged project phase of 18 more months. Including in that sustainability model would be a data quality assurance model, which would allow us to ensure all information entered into the database is seen as trustworthy using partner organizations or another methodology to be designed. One of the benefits of the tool is that we can produce better market intelligence reports, something that has been happening for the Gates Foundation for the last 12 months and proved particularly valuable. We could make those available to multiple users that were interested in this data. And of course, that would require some governance across a group of user advisors, the user Advisory Group.